Good evening, and welcome to day 31 of 40 days of Bible study and prayer. Um, Over these last few weeks, we've been going over the lies that the devil tells us, that we tell ourselves, or that society tells us, and we've been looking into the Bible for the truth. First of all, I apologize for my tardiness tonight. As a matter of fact, I was working on a lie that my husband had given me for tonight. But it was actually really intensive, so much so that I couldn't find all the verses I needed to in a timely manner. And so I asked my daughter for one, and she gave me a really, really good one. But that was just like my husband's. It was very intense, and I wasn't going to be able to put together something so quickly for that. Um, so I prayed to God really quickly, and I said, I it was just like 8:50 p.m. I had 10 minutes to go, and I still didn't have the lie that I wanted, or that I felt comfortable or able to put together quickly. And then he kind of gave me one right at the last minute, and I'm like, oh wow, that's cool. he he's really been helping me, really, really been helping me. God's been pulling through. So again, I apologize for my tardiness, but I'm still here, and we'll go ahead and go forward. So this is a lie that, wow, I've told myself quite a bit. Yeah, and even to this day, I struggle with this. I struggle with it because it's something that all of us deal with. We all deal with this. And, it's kind of like with patience and forgiveness. It's one of those things that we have a choice to either do or not do. And that many of us just make ourselves believe that we can't do it. So, yeah. So let's go ahead and go into tonight's lie. So the lie is, I can't control myself enough to stop or give up dot dot dot. Fill in the blanks with whatever it is you're having troubles with, in terms of stopping or giving up, where where you feel like you're just completely out of control and you can't do it. You just can't control your emotions. You can't control your bodily cravings. You can't control your mental cravings. You can't control whatever it might be. Um, and the truth is, everyone has the ability to control themselves through discipline and prayer. Um, I don't like this truth. I'm gonna be completely honest. I feel comfortable saying I just can't control myself. I just can't, give up. Food, right? Food's been my trigger, my not my trigger, my addiction, right? It's been my addiction, and it's so hard to overcome, to eat properly, to do things right. And there's times that I give in. I tell myself it's just I can't control myself. I can't do it. I can't do it. And our minds are so powerful. Our words are powerful. What we say holds power. There's that verse that says, life or death is in your tongue. I know I'm saying it wrong. God, I really need to work on memorizing Bible verses. But it's something to that effect. The power of life or death comes in your tongue. What we say, right? What we say is so, so powerful. So anytime we tell ourselves a lie, it has power. It has power over us. So if I continue to tell myself I just can't control, I can't control myself enough. I can't stop eating unhealthy. I can't control my bodily urges. I'm lying to myself. I'm really just staying in it. I'm staying right there, and I'm choosing not to move on. I'm choosing not to have discipline, you know. But we can all control ourselves in every situation. Yeah, every situation. We can control our emotions. We can control our minds. We can control our thought processes. And it just takes discipline. It takes discipline. It takes doing it constantly. It takes, a real mindset shift to do. And it takes prayer, for the times that we're really, really weak and discipline's just not pulling through. We got to pray. We have to pray about it. But we can all do it. We can all control ourselves. We can give up whatever it is we have to give up. We can stop doing whatever it is we want to stop doing. We absolutely can. There's nothing stopping us but ourselves. Nothing stopping us but ourselves. It's not outside, our control to change things or give up things in our lives. It's all about us. It's all about our minds. It's all about what we're willing to do. And I think a lot of times we say we can't control it, not because we really can't, but because we just don't want to. You know? I mean, especially like me and food. There's sometimes I don't want to. I don't want to give it up. I don't want to control myself. I want to just sit in front of a plate of horrible food and just please myself, please my body, please my mind. Yeah, it's not because I can't control myself. It's because sometimes I just don't want to. I don't want to control myself. So, yeah, it's a tough one, right? It's a tough one, but it's something that's in our control. Proverbs 25, verse 28 says, like a city whose walls are broken through is a person who lacks self control. When we don't control ourselves, when we allow our minds or our bodies to get the best of us, we become like a city without walls. So if you imagine, right, if you imagine a city, especially back in the days of Christ and around that time frame, cities sometimes had walls on them. They built walls around them to keep people out, right? And when you're not controlled, when you're not disciplined, that's like a way of controlling who comes in, right? Walls around a city are a way of controlling who comes into the city. It's control. And when you lose control, it's like the walls have just fallen. Anybody can come in. Anybody can come in the city and just overrun it and take over it. Same thing. Somebody who can't control themselves, they're just letting anything come in. Anything, mind, your thoughts, food, um, uh, drugs, whatever it is, whatever you're dealing with, you're just letting it come into your body. You're not even putting up a wall. You have no walls because you have no self control. There's nothing stopping you from letting these things in because you just push the walls down, push the walls away. And and sometimes, yes, I agree that if you're dealing with a chemical dependency, like if you're dealing with drugs that really alter your mind, and this includes food, right? Because food, we talked about it a few weeks ago. Food literally can it controls your mind because depending on what kind of bacteria you have in your stomach based off the food that you've been eating will determine what your body is craving for, and it goes straight to your head. It goes straight to your mind and it becomes hard to control. Same thing with drugs that alter your chemical, they chemically alter your body and it becomes an intense addiction. Not doesn't mean we can't get through it, right? Doesn't mean we can't beat those addictions. Becomes harder, yes, but still, all it takes is discipline. All it takes is a strong, strong mind to say, I don't care what's happening. I can do this. I can control myself. And it takes reaching out to God and saying, God, please help me with this. I can't do this on my own. I really need you to hold my hand. I need you to walk with me. I need you to constantly remind me that I am better than this. I am above this, that I can control what's going on, that I can control what comes in my body, that I can put up the walls. I can determine that, right? There's nothing we can't do without Him. Nothing. There's nothing in this world that we can't do without Him. Nothing. Nothing. And once you really believe that, once you really, really, really believe that all things are possible with God, that He can really do anything, anything, if you really truly believe that and receive it with all your heart, mind, body, and soul, you can control anything, any kind of addiction. You can give up anything. And I'm not saying you can control other people, right? No, we're not talking about other people. We're talking about yourself. yourself, what you put into your mouth, what you put into your nose, what you put into your body, what you put into your mind, what you put into your thoughts, what you put into your eyes, what you hear, what you see, what you read, everything. You have control over all of that. And all of that determines how hard it is for you to give it up. What you're willing to control and what you're willing not to control. What you're willing to be disciplined about and what you're not. What you're willing to pray about and what you're not. It's all within your grasp. We just play mind games with ourselves and tell us that we can't do it. We tell ourselves we just can't do it. I just can't give it up. I just can't control myself. Lies. Lies, 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 lies. You can. We can. I can. We all can. We can. But we don't want to a lot, right? That's the thing. That if we're willing to admit that, at least we've made a step in the right direction to say that, you know what, it's not that I can't, it's that I don't want to and I'm not willing to. And if you can admit that, you're part of the way there. So I'm willing to admit it. Very willing to admit it. Um, Now discipline, right? Nobody likes discipline. Nobody likes it. Hebrews 12, verse 11 says, "For the moment, all discipline seems painful rather than pleasant, but later it yields the peaceful fruit of righteousness to those who have been trained by it." I don't like discipline, y'all. I'm not going to sit up here and pretend like I just got my stuff together, like everything is great, like everything is intact. No, 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 no. You know, I don't like cleaning. I'm going to be honest. I was never trained how to clean when I was younger. I lived in a household, and I'm not knocking my family. I'm not at all. Everybody chooses how they want to raise their children, right? But I was raised in a household where it was my mom and my grandparents. So I was the firstborn, the first grandchild of my grandparents, and they spoiled me. They spoiled me rotten. I didn't have to wash my own clothes. I didn't have to cook my own food. I could just leave my plate at the dinner table and get up and walk away when I was done. I didn't even have to take it to the sink. That's like how spoiled I was. And everybody did everything for me. My room, if it would get dirty, my grandpa would just come in finally and say, "You know what? I'm tired of this. Let me just go ahead and clean it all up." And he would clean it up. All I did on Saturday mornings when we got together and cleaned as a family, I dusted the stuff, the wood stuff with Pledge, and then I did the windows. And then they came behind me and fixed the windows because I didn't do a very good job. But I wasn't disciplined. I wasn't required to do certain things. And guess what? Now it's hard for me. Even as a 48-year-old adult, it is hard for me to do those things. It's hard for me to cook consistently. It's hard for me to clean. It's hard for me to really manage and maintain a household because I wasn't disciplined when I was younger. I wasn't trained. Now, for a long time, I used the excuse. I use it as an excuse. I said, well, it's because of my family. It's because they didn't teach me. It's because, okay, yeah, okay, that was the reason, but that's it. That's the reason. No more, no less. I can still now control whether or not I discipline myself, whether or not I make myself do certain things, whether or not I take the initiative to plan it, make a cleaning plan, make a dinner plan, make whatever. I have that control. But a lot of the times I just convinced myself that I didn't. It was just my family's fault. They didn't train me, so oh well, this is how I am now. No, no, that's not. We can't use that. We can't use our past. We can't use how we were brought up. We can't use all that anymore as an excuse for why we're not doing things now. you know Especially eating was hard. I was brought up again in a family where everybody overate. Like, I mean, they would serve me. I was like 11 years old and they would serve me like a mountain of food, literally a mountain. And then they would look at me like, okay, you're not going to finish it, even though I was like really really tired of eating. But because they served it to me, I had to eat it. And then I started to like let go of the discipline, even though my mind was telling me, this is too much food. This is too much. I shouldn't be eating this. I just went along with what they said. so that way they wouldn't get upset with me wasting food or whatever. And then I lost my ability to control myself with the eating. And it got harder and it became a struggle, because it became something that I used like they did. I used it as a way to cope. So, yeah, um, giving up weed. I mean, that took discipline. That took like telling myself, no, you don't need it. It doesn't matter. You don't need it. You don't need it. Yes, you want it. You don't need it. Yes, you want it. No, you don't need it. And there would be times where I would fight with my mind constantly, constantly. I'm like, oh God, I just want to smoke. I just want to smoke. And I would have to sit there and fight with myself in my head and just be like, you have control. You have control over this. It doesn't have control over you. And then I would stop and pray to God and say, God, please take away the taste. Take away the want for the taste. Take away the want for the smell. Take away the want for the feeling. Take it all away from me, please, because I'm having a hard time with this. I'm having a really hard time, But once we start making that a habit, once we start making, praying to God for some help here and telling ourselves, no, that we're lying. No, this is not the truth. No, I can do this. Me saying that I can't, no, that's a lie, that's a lie, that's a lie. Once we really train ourselves to see the lies and acknowledge the lies that we tell ourselves, we can gain strength in the truth. We gain strength in the truth. That's what this is all about. That's what everything is all about. All these lies we're telling, it's about adopting the truth. That way we can stop believing in the lie. So again, the whole, I can't give this up. I can't do this. I can't stop. No, please, 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 we need to stop lying to ourselves. We'll never be able to really move forward in life successfully if we believe so many of the lies that we tell ourselves. 1 Peter 4, verse 7 says, the end of all things is near. Therefore be alert and of sober mind so that you may pray. Now, sober mind, if you look back at my sermon that I gave a few weeks ago, I talked about how to be sober for Christ, how to walk the line for the Christ, how to walk the line for Christ sober. I talked about sober not just meaning, drugs or alcohol. Sober meaning not being angry, not being jealous, not being impatient, not being mean to others, not being so many things, right? Because we can get drunk in those things. We can get drunk in those things. So, you know, in order to effectively pray, we have to have a clear mind. We have to have a clear mind, and that can be, you know, an unclear mind is caused by our addictions, the things that we refuse to control. We're getting close to the end. We've got to control ourselves. We have to control ourselves. We can't keep making up excuses as to why we can't do certain things and why we can't give up certain things. And we certainly can't use the end being near as an excuse to do it. A lot of people will go out and say, I hear people say, I'm already it's almost time for me to kick the bucket. I might as well just keep on doing. I might as well just keep on smoking. Let's stop with that right there. Let's stop with giving ourselves reasons to do stuff just because the end might be near or we might be getting closer to our deathbed. Let those not be reasons that we use and not excuses. We have to be alert. We have to be on point. We have to be ready for the devil when he attacks us. And if we refuse to control ourselves, if we refuse to use discipline and prayer as a way to control ourselves, then we're never going to be sober. We're always going to be drunk in something. Drunk in food, drunk in drugs, drunk in our anger, drunk in jealousy, drunk in impatience, drunk in the inability to forgive. You know? All those things will cause us to have issues in the long run. So let's again accept the fact that we can control ourselves. God gave us the power of self control. Self control is a fruit of the Spirit, which means it's within our reach. If we can love ourselves by controlling ourselves. It's a mind game. Let's start winning. Let's start winning this mind game. Romans 8, verse 13 says, for if you live according to the flesh, you will die. But if by the Spirit you put to death the misdeeds of the body, you will live. If we live according to our flesh, if your addiction, whatever it is you're trying to give up is bodily, if you keep giving in to your flesh, you will die at some point. And I don't necessarily mean an actual death, but a spiritual death. Because as long as that controls you, as long as that drug controls you, as long as food controls you, as long as anger controls you, as long as jealousy controls you, as long as greed controls you, as long as anything controls you, that's your idol and you will die. But the Spirit, if you use God, if you ask for God, if you use His strength, and I'm not saying use Him as an abuse Him, I'm talking about like just use His power. Ask Him for His power to help you get through this because He can do all things. That means He can do it within us. But we got to rely on Him and we have to lean on Him and we have to ask Him for it and we have to talk to Him about it and we have to come to Him. He wants to be there for us, but a lot of times we just try and rely on ourselves. And sometimes it takes more than just ourselves to accomplish something. So we have to be willing to do that. We have to ignore our flesh because our flesh will lead us so many different ways. Our flesh will lead us down the wrong path. We have to listen to the Spirit. And we know when we're doing something wrong, when we're about to light up that cigarette or light up that blunt, or when we're about to eat that unhealthy food, when we're about to watch that pornography, when we're about to say a curse word, when we're about to listen to music that has all kinds of bad words in it and horrible messages, when we're about to watch something on TV that is just not going to bless us internally. Whenever we give in to the flesh, we get closer and closer to death. We've got to overcome. We've got to get beyond, move past our addictions. We have to. And finally, 1 Corinthians 9, verses 24 to 27. Do you not know that in a race all the runners run, but only one gets the prize? Run in such a way to get the prize. Everyone who competes in the games goes into strict training. They do it to get a crown that will not last, but we do it to get a crown that will last forever. Therefore, I do not run like someone running aimlessly. I do not fight like a boxer beating the air. No, I strike a blow to my body and make it my slave, so that after I have preached to others, I myself will not be disqualified for the prize. We have to get strict with ourselves. We have to start training. And we have to have aimed blows every time that we train. We don't want to disqualify ourselves from getting the prize of eternal life and letting ourselves believe that we can't control ourselves and that we can't give up whatever we're addicted to or we can't stop doing what it is we have an issue with. And we keep telling ourselves that we're not going to win the prize. We're not going to have eternal life. We're not going to get there. I want to get there. I want you to get there. I want to see you in heaven. I want to see my loved ones in heaven. But satisfying my body right here, right now, satisfying my flesh, letting myself believe that I can't control my urges to do wrong, to harm myself, to harm my body, to harm my mind, to harm my spirit. If I keep allowing that, I'm not going to get where it is I'm supposed to go. This walk with God takes everything. It takes everything. And that's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing for us to give up everything to walk with God. Because if we give up everything, He will give us everything. The more we give up, the more He'll give us. How we walk with Him determines how we're going to walk with Him in eternity. I meant to say, how we walk with Him here on earth will determine how we walk with Him in eternity. We can't succumb to the temptations around us. We can't succumb to any of that. We have to get in control. We have to discipline ourselves and we must pray. We must pray our way through it so that we can get the help that we need. So, Father, tonight I come before you first asking for forgiveness. Please forgive me for all the times that I didn't control my urges, that I didn't control myself, that I gave in to eating horrible foods, that I smoked, that I watched pornography, that I cheated on men, the times that I said bad words, the times that I just sat there and watched crap on TV. I have no other way of saying that, but it was just not good stuff. I watched inappropriate things, listened to inappropriate music, surrounded myself with people that were doing the same thing, kept that company. I'm sorry because all those times I was doing that, I was consciously choosing not to walk with you. I was consciously choosing to go against that which I knew it was correct. I consciously went against it, knowing. And for the times that I made myself believe that I just couldn't control it, that I just didn't have the discipline, I just didn't have the ability, that was a lie. And I'm sorry for believing the lie. I'm sorry for all the excuses. And I thank you. Thank you for your forgiveness. I thank you for your mercy. I thank you for getting me to this point now where I honestly see that every decision I make has an eternal consequence. Every decision I make right now, everything I choose to roll with or go with, everything I refuse to get control of, it's all going to have an effect on whether or not I make it to heaven. It's going to have an effect. And I thank you for letting me finally see that. Thank you for opening my eyes. I thank you for filling me with the Spirit to be able to discern whether or not something is good for me. And now it's getting so much easier the more and more I practice. Thank you. Thank you for the gift of training. Thank you for the gift of discipline. Thank you for sometimes letting me fall and fail in so many ways so that I could feel the disappointment. Sometimes being able to feel a disappointment and sitting in the consequences of my actions is the best thing that could happen. So I thank you for turning bad things into good things, for helping me learn, allowing me to learn and take that and apply it to the future, to my future decisions. So thank you. Thank you. And Father, tonight I pray for everybody out there who feels like they can't control themselves, who feels like they can't give up their addiction, like they can't get past it, like they can't win. Father, I need you to show them that they can. They can get past it. There is nothing too strong in this world for them to not be able to do it. There's no temptation too strong if they reach out to you. You've built us to where we can deal with temptation. We can deal with it. We can build strength. We can build it by practice, by training, by discipline, by prayer. Father, help everybody see that. Whoever's listening to this, if they've got an issue that they're dealing with that they just can't seem to give up, Father, give them the strength. Give them your resurrection strength. Give them the Spirit. Show them it's absolutely possible. Control is possible. Self control is possible. It's not even just possible, it can be a reality. It will be a reality if they work on it. If they work on it, Father, please give them the yearning to want to work on it. Please take away their taste for whatever addiction it is they have, whether it be an actual drug addiction or food addiction, whether it be an addiction to pornography or addiction to saying bad words or an addiction to being mean to others, an addiction to judging people, an addiction to anything, whatever it might be. Please help them see that they do have the ability to control themselves. Discipline and prayer, discipline and prayer, discipline and prayer, Father. Help them get that into their heads. They can do anything with discipline and prayer. Discipline and prayer, they can do it if they call on you. If they call on you and if they lean into your strength, anything can be done. So, Father, I ask for all of this, and so much more. In the mighty name of Jesus, I pray. Amen.